Assalamualaikum and hi. Today, our group will present to you our documentary video regarding the deforestation in West Malaysia. Before we start, our group consists of 5 members, which are Farisha Izzati, Putri Arisha, Nur Shahira, Najwa Hani and Muhammad Yudri.
Commercially and economically, forests are indisputable assets. The country's forests supply timber and paper, both of which are important economic sources. The conversion of forests to agricultural land has resulted in deforestation. The area of native forests, as well as forests and wildlife biodiversity, has been harmed as a result of these acts. Excessive logging and other forest exploitation in Malaysia has contributed to soil erosion, sedimentation, slope degradation, and landslides. Water availability and quality, groundwater retrieval capabilities, and floods in low-lying areas will all be affected by deforestation in water catchment areas. For example, many rainforests in Perak's Titiwangsa range have been devastated. The range is the backbone of Malaysian life, as shown in the cross-section of Peninsular Malaysia. When it rains, water will flow from the east to the west coast, regulated by forest trees that gather rainfall and gently release it over the peninsula. Malaysia is a country that is developing centrally and developed in various fields. However, in the rapid growth and development of the center, many people do not realize that it also brings side effects to the environment. The Earth's ecological system and erosion have been disrupted by the activity of illegal logging and development enterprises. Human design has no value sensitive to social issues in society is a major cause of environmental destruction.
One of the causes of deforestation in West Malaysia is illegal logging. The main reason for this uncontrolled deforestation is due to widespread of deforestation through the illegal logging activity in all of the forest areas in our country. Usually, this illegal logging activity take place in the protected area such as forest reserve and national parks. For example, the 14,710 hectare permanent forest reserve in Ulu Sat Machang is an area that is often invaded by illegal loggers because it is said that have more than 1,000 species of higher quality timber. Other than that, opening up new land for agriculture also one of the causes. The clearing of land for agricultural purpose, whether explored to open plant land or explored illegally, will also destroy the plant species as it involves deforestation in the large areas. There are various of human activities that contributing to the destruction of forests. For instance, opening of new land as an agricultural site in the Tanah Tinggi Lodging Gua Musa, Kelantan. A large amount of land was handed over to various corporations in order to develop up new agricultural regions such as vegetable nurseries. Furthermore, other causes of deforestation in West Malaysia is development. The construction of residential area and higher building has resulted in many forest areas having to be cut down. The forest had to be opened to build the building and roads in every year, and new areas were opened and more forests were disappearing from view. For instance, the situation in Bukit Apek is not like before, which the atmosphere is really cool and comfortable. This happened due to the trees that are lost after being cut down for the development purpose. Lastly, construction of hydroelectric dam also another causes. There is no denying that water is a basic need in our life. The construction of it will destroy the forest in two ways, which are logging and clearing of the forest for the construction of them, and the subsidence of the forest area for the purpose of water retention. For example, that can be seen is the construction of the Janagor Dam, which was complete in 1986, had resulting in the existence of Kenye Lake, which had inundated several existing rivers, hills and highlands, which also drowned. One of the effects of deforestation in West Malaysia is soil erosion. It is a natural occurrence that have been documented for centuries, which it is increased drastically by human activity, and deforestation is one of the direct contributors to this. Loss and unstable soil structure condition due to the loss of grip of tree root, which serve to improve the stability of the soil structure in unplanned area. Heavy rain over long period cause soil erosion and carry mud into nearby river. For example, there are many landslide incidents that have occurred in Malaysia, such as the incident in Bukit Antarabangsa, Kuala Lumpur and others because of this. Other than that, extinction of flora and fauna habitat also one of the effects. Malaysian rainforests are habitat for the biological diversity of flora and fauna. It is common knowledge that forests are the natural habitat for a wide variety of plant and wild animal species. This habitat becomes a place for animals to forage, shelter and breed. If deforestation activity continue to be rampant and uncontrolled, ecology and wildlife ecosystem will be disrupted. Every animal and plant species has a vital role to play in the food chain, which can have a substantial impact on the ability of animal and human to live. In addition, another effect of deforestation in West Malaysia is global warming. The ozone layer destroys carbon dioxide solution to organic carbon in the air, and an increase in carbon dioxide concentration in the air will cause warming concern in our country. Decreasing forests are causing large amount of greenhouse gases to enter the atmosphere. As the amount of greenhouse gases increase in the atmosphere, heat will be trapped in it. This increase in heat causes changes in climate pattern, which in turn cause global warming. Global warming occurs as a result of increasing concentration of greenhouse gases, especially CO2 reach 400 ppm, and increasing CO2 concentration will trap heat in the Earth's climate system. Lastly, destruction of water and rain catchment area also one of the effects. Human activity of cutting down trees will affect rain catchment area in the highlands. Forests not only operate as the Earth's lung, but they also act as sponge in rain collection areas. The cutting down of trees by humans will have an impact on rain collection area in the highlands. This will reduce the rate of absorption and storage of water in the soil, as well as affect water supply. This situation is detrimental to the surrounding population. The continue of deforestation in water catchment area will affect water supply, and the quality of water resources also affect groundwater retrieval capability and cause more flooding in low-lying areas.
Nowadays in Malaysia, there are lots of laws that being released by the government with an intention of preserving and reserving the forest in Malaysia, where it keeps on thinning from years to years. The law divided into two parts, which are for the Peninsula Malaysia and East Malaysia, which is Sabah and Sarawak. For the Peninsula Malaysia, the law that being used are the National Forestry Act 1984 and the National Forestry Policy 1978. Although there are many laws and policy to reduce the problem, but the rate of deforestation in the Peninsula Malaysia keeps on increasing. One of the reasons where the policies are unable to solve the problem is that the theory and practice are not in line. Inspection of forest areas are currently in concerning level. Policies that being released are not being implemented and practiced properly to monitor the forest from any external reason to deforestation. According to the newspaper written by Su Wen Jun 2017, the total losses due to illegal logging in Peninsular Malaysia recorded 15.2 million ringgit from 2006 to 2016. This statistic showed us that the policy is just a black and white document if the policies are not being implemented properly by those who are accountable in this area. Another reason where the policy is unable to solve the problem is the presence of misconduct in the administrative level. A misconduct is an action that opposite to the rules and regulations which have been stated by the organization. According to a statistic, Malaysia sits in 57 from 180 countries in the world where it's still high in the context of corruption, according to Transparency International 2021. This brings misfortune to Malaysia when the corruption also include in forestry department. In 2017, a forestry official pledged guilty for bribery according to Clean Malaysia 2017, where the forestry official turns a blind eye for the illegal logging, which one of the causes for deforestation. This will endanger the forest more when those who are responsible to monitor the forest cooperated with those who want profit rather than preserving the mother nature. Due to the misconduct action of some forestry administrative to gain personal benefit, the problem will not be solved even though there are policies that protecting, preserving and reserving the forests.
For the suggestion, there are several proposals to address the problem of deforestation, which is a serious problem and has affected the country's ecosystem. First, more serious law enforcement and heavier punishment for offenders. The existence of strict law and heavy penalties will cause those who want to engage in illegal logging will think the consequences first. The law also applies to the officials who take bribes and allow this illegal logging to take place without taking action. Each forest product is subject to the National Forestry Act 1984 and it is the responsibility of each state government to take care of the land in their respective states. For the second suggestion, regularly monitoring by the officer involved. Regularly monitoring needs to be done because most of the illegal logging issues are detected and action taken when there are a big impact has occurred. Forests in Malaysia are taken care by the Forestry Department for each state. The State Forestry Department is responsible for the administration and control of forest exploitation, collection of forest products, and development of state forest resources. The State Forestry Department is divided into the Forest Operation and the Forest Development Division and is supported by the District Forest. To ensure the success of this approach, its State Forestry Department should work with other government agencies such as the Royal Malaysian Air Police. This is because the use of helicopter helps to monitoring more clearly. Lastly, gazette more forests in Malaysia as a national park and permanent forest reserve, one of the suggestions to address deforestation from occurring frequently. This is because the national park and permanent forest reserve are restricted area and strictly guarded for entry. This can help prevent encroachment such as taking forest product and illegal logging. Not only that, heavier penalties will be imposed on intruders of the national park and permanent forest reserve. The government also need to increase the number of forest rangers to maintain forest sustainability. This is because large area of forest require more forest rangers to monitor forest condition. The main purpose of the condition is to ensure that the national ecosystem is not affected.
Deforestation has resulted in at least two significant issues, which are indigenous peoples have been displaced and biodiversity has been harmed. It is both a social and an environmental concern. Deforestation and other major environmental problems are frequently perpetuated due to a lack of awareness and information about the issue. Deforestation can be reduced by teaching people about the consequences of their behavior, such as palm oil intake. Even in the case of farmers, increased awareness and education are critical. Deforestation destroys the lives of millions of indigenous people, even though it is not a well-publicized or well-understood subject. Large international corporations working under the guise of corrupt governments abuse the rights of local populations in numerous distant locations. The two main laws governing forestry activities in West Malaysia are the National Forestry Act of 1984 and the National Forestry Policy of 1978, as well as any later revisions which intended to safeguard forest management areas against unlawful harvesting, unauthorized settlement, and other prohibited activities. Despite the fact that West Malaysia has policies in place, it is unable to tackle the problem since theory and practice are not in sync. Not only that, the existing state of administrative misbehavior is one of the reasons why current policies are failing to tackle the problems.